Hello everybody, this is Sofa Plays here. I am doing another video on another card review. This time we are looking at Mage from the Ashes of Outland, the new expansion coming really soon. I'm really looking forward to this review because I really love Mage in Arena. I think she's really fun. Maybe a little unfair because she can get some insane stuff in Arena, and I think she's the most RNG based class in Arena. Like, oh, the plays you can do with her are fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this new card set that's out for her. Again, she only has 10 cards like the rest of the classes, and I'm going to be rating these cards out of 5 stars, 1 being awful, 5 stars being fantastic. Anyway, let's get right to it. Alright, so the card we're going to look at first is a 2 mana 3/1 common, so we're very likely to see it in Arena. It's called Scryer. As a death rattle, draw a spell. So the first thing I'm looking at is the stats. I think the stats are pretty poor. I don't like the fact that it has only 1 health. It means it's pretty easy to deal with overall, so yeah, I don't like cards that are just easily removable. But the death rattle is pretty solid. Like, I like the fact of being able to draw a spell quite early on. It means it could help you catch up later as well, because Mage do have quite a few spells that are really good in Arena. I think it could help you draw your like Flame Strike earlier, it could help you draw your Fireball or anything really. I quite like it. I'm going to give it a 3 though, mainly because I hate these stats, but I like the mechanic. So the next card we are looking at is a new secret. So it's a 3 mana common called Neverwind Portal, and after your opponent casts a spell, summon a random 4-cost minion. Now, this can be really hit and miss because I feel as though it depends what class you go against where this would work, because there's some classes, and I know it sounds weird, but sometimes there are cases where they don't have a spell. I've actually dealt with this in the past where like counter spell, you play it and it's literally still there throughout the rest of the game, but I think it's still pretty solid. And there are some really good 4 mana minions out there, especially in Arena at the moment, so I think it's a really good card. I don't think it's that broken because, again, I think it really depends on your opponent's deck. I think you're most likely always bound to have at least 1 spell in Arena, but again, it depends what sets are out as well. I'm going to give this 3 stars because I think it's not always going to trigger, but if it does trigger, it could give you something really good. Alrighty, and then another spell, 8 mana rare. So freeze an enemy, summon 2 3/6 water elementals. That sounds, I wouldn't say kind of insane, because the water elementals are 4 mana each anyway. I guess it's kind of good because it's all in 1 card. So you get 2 minions for the price of 1 card, plus you get to freeze an enemy as well. I don't think it's necessarily amazing, but I think it is kind of strong. I think that's why I'm probably going to rate it at a 4-star rating. I don't think this is a card you'd really overlook because water elementals are really good to have in Arena, and I think even when you're at turn 8, I think it could be it's basically the type of card you would want to top deck because it gives you 2 minions for the price of 1 and it slows down your opponent. So yeah, that's why I'm not rating it very low, but the reason I'm not rating it really high as well is because considering some of the other cards I've seen so far, I don't think it's as strong as it could be. But yeah, this is Blizzard trying to balance out the cards, and I think they've done pretty well on this one, so I will move on. Alright, so I've seen this card before on Twitter. So it's a 2-mana spell in Cantus Flow. It reduces the cost of the spells in your deck by 1. Now, if we were looking at this as a standard and wild perspective, you can make some very interesting decks with these. Can you imagine it with Vargoth? But in Arena, I don't think this would be any good. Even though Mage is likely to get quite a few spells in Arena, I don't think you'd be able to pull off any cool combos. Like, yeah, your spells would be a little cheaper, that's fine, but I don't think it's a pick that's worth going to, because the majority of your deck is always going to be minions. So you're only going to buff like maybe like 1 or 2 spells if you're lucky. Oh yes, sorry, I didn't give it a rating. I was just thinking, I forgot something for a second. Yeah, I think I would give this possibly 2 stars. I don't think it's absolutely terrible, but I think it won't make much of a difference if you were to play it in Arena. So alright, so we got the Font of Power, 1 mana rare. Discover a mage minion. If your deck has no minions, keep all 3. Okay, so it's just a discover card really, because the chance of you having no minions in Arena is bar none. So you're never gonna pull this off unless you're going like fatigue with your opponents. Could you imagine you top decking and then you have no cards left, and then this could actually be really good. But a lot of Arena games, like 8 out of 10 times, are usually kind of like finished before you get to fatigue each other, so I don't think you'd ever get the full advantage of this card. Even still, like it's not that bad. Like honestly, I would prefer to pick maybe better removal or an actual minion than this card, but it could also provide you some really good options as well, because mage minions aren't that bad. If anything, they can be very strong, so I'm okay with this. I think it's a free. Like, it's very situational, and yeah, it depends what it offers you, because discover cards can backfire sometimes, but again, they could also be amazing. Right, so we got another card. So it's a 2 mana 2 free. After you play a secret, discover a spell. Now, first of all, 2 mana 2 free. I love the stats. The stats I am happy with. Sorry, I had to just check something a second. So yeah, 2 mana 2 free, that's what you're looking for a card. And after you play a secret, discover a spell. The likelihood of you ever pulling off this combo, very unlikely. Like, it's Arena after all. But if you ever do, then the value is brilliant. I love the value you can get off this cards. I think I'll give it a 4. Like, the stats alone are still pretty okay. Like, it's the substandard stats that you're just looking for in Arena, like 2 mana 2 free or 2 mana free 2. And then, of course, if you can even activate it, that's why I've kind of given it just a little bit of a higher rating, because it could possibly change the game. Because discovering a spell is pretty solid, especially for Mage, because Mage have really insane cards. Alright, so the next card is a 5 mana spell, Apexix Blast. Sorry. Deal 5 damage. Alright, so just deal 5 damage, so to anyone. And if your deck has no minions, summon a random 5 cost minion. Now again, this is Arena. So you are basically going to be spending 5 mana to deal 5 damage and do nothing else. It is a overpriced fireball, -1 damage. It's really bad. Again, if you were to be going into fatigue, I guess it would be a lot better, but I think this card is pretty abysmal. It's not a card I'd really pick. I would definitely avoid it because obviously you're never going to just have spells in Arena. You're going to have lots of minions. So I'm going to give this a possibly a 2. Like at the end of the day, it's still removal and sometimes you need removal. But I think it's still a pretty bad card for Arena. The next one we got is a 1 mana spell. Vocation. Fill your hand with random mage spells. At the end of your turn, discard them. It's a legendary spell. Oh my gosh. That looks like so much fun. I guess if you were to get this in Arena, the possibilities are endless. It's kind of like playing Yogg, but it goes into your hand instead and you can like control them. And what I like about mage spells is that you can get a lot of value mage spells, a lot of choose free cards. So you could end up actually keeping some spells. So I think it's actually pretty solid. Like, unfortunately, it does discard them at the end of the turn, but I think it could really get you ahead. Say, I don't think you'd play it early. I think you would play it like all the way into the late game if you make it to turn 10, and then you have a bunch of cards to choose from, and then you could just mess around with them. And the thing is, Mage has a lot of cheap spells as well, so this could actually work out really well for Mage. Could also work out really bad. But I think it's pretty solid. I will give it a 4 because I think it can backfire. But I don't think it's ever going to give you a really bad card. Unless you're very unlucky even. Alrighty, and we got another one of these cards. So it's a 2 mana 3/2 Astromancer Silurian. So it's +1 spell damage. So I like the stats and I like the trigger. That's pretty good. So it's got the solid 2 mana stats. Death Rattle will shuffle a Silurian Prime into your deck, and let's have a look at what that card does. So it's a 7 mana 7/7. Okay, stats. +1 spell damage, and Battle Cry, cast 5 random mage spells. I would so pick this card if it was ever offered to me. It's basically a mini Yogg. I love it. Like the 2 mana card, the first one's really good, and then the card it gives you is brilliant as well. I quite like it. It's value, and the 5 random mage spells will probably actually destroy you because you know when you play Yogg, he never really goes in your favor. Maybe it's just me, but you'd be very lucky for it to pull off. I think this for me is a easy 5 stars. To be realistically, I think it's 4, but I'm going to give it 5 because for fun. We're going to give it the bonus star for the fun value. We like fun in Arena. Otherwise, why would you play it? And then we're to the last card. Now, originally, I thought this card was bad because I didn't realise that Dormant, it was dormant during your... I know this sounds really stupid, but I didn't consider my turn. But obviously, if you've watched the previous videos, you know I understand the dormant mechanic now, and I think this card's actually really good. I was watching someone review it the other day, and he basically stated it's a Yeti mixed with a consecration. I think it's so good. Well, obviously it doesn't deal damage to the actual enemy, but it deals damage to the enemy minion. So it's a 3 mana 4/3, not a 3 mana 4/5. I'm sorry. Imprisoned Observer. So it's dormant for 2 turns, so your turn and the opponent's turn. But when it's awakened, it deals 2 damage to all enemy minions. I think that is absolutely fantastic because you play this on turn 3. Obviously, you can't do anything with it, but once your turn commences, on your turn 4, you're going to have a 4/5 on the board. It's going to have dealt 2 damage to all of your opponent's minions, and then you have 4 mana to play around with. I really like this card. I think it's really good. and that's why I'm going to give this one a 5. I think this is the first time I've given a Dormant card a 5, because usually I don't like the Dormant trigger, but I think the deal 2 damage to all enemy minions is going to make your opponent play a bit differently, just to avoid that effect affecting them. And yeah, I think it's a pretty solid card. I think this is the card we're going to all be looking out for, really. Anyway, that is the end of that list. I hope to see you again soon, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!